Hey guys, welcome to Voices of Mars, and we have a special guest today. Two people from Arcane Factories. Justin as the art director and the head of Arcane Factories. Hello, Justin.
Hi, how you doing?
And Matt as the man behind all the 3D sculpts that you guys are seeing. Hi, Matt.
Hello?
Now, the reason why we got you guys here, we're starting a new series called Developer Diaries. So this will be also the videos that you're going to be seeing on their Kickstarter stuff and their channel. Um, since Arcane Factories is also part of the WGC brand, I am helping them out, of course, as a network, to create videos and post them up. So you'll be seeing it on my channel and also their channel. Now, you had a lot of interviews lately.
Yeah,
And also with WGC members.
that's right.
So most of the basic questions probably can be looked upon on YouTube, and I can probably link on down below. But let's get on to the questions that some people might not have seen before, or maybe I haven't paid attention to much.
Okay, no problem.
So as the art director and as a brand new company, Justin,
Yeah,
this is your very, very first Kickstarter, yes?
yes, this is our first Kickstarter. It's exciting, scary at the same time.
I can't even imagine the pressure that you were feeling.
Um, it's it's very difficult to describe the pressure of a Kickstarter. You really have to be extremely committed to your idea,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you have to be a little bit crazy. For starters, you have to be very, very crazy, and you really have to believe in and love what you're doing for to do a Kickstarter process, because you're pretty much married to the idea that you put into place once it starts, and you cannot let go of it until you see it through if you want to be successful. So, yeah.
Now, trickling down a little bit to Matt, do you feel the same or close enough pressure that Justin is feeling?
Truthfully, yeah. It's a roller coaster, man. There's a lot of ups and downs with this. Maybe not as much as Justin, because I work in sculpting and design work too, and so that's the fun stuff. He covers some of that, and the hardest part, the marketing and like market research. That's stuff you want to
Yeah.
mess with.
I like to leave all the artists like free, just to do the really important stuff, which is the designing and all that sort of stuff, while I take on and speaking with clients and the really, it's boring but important stuff, like going through doing all the research that goes in with doing a Kickstarter. There's
Mhm.
lots of silly stuff like taxes that you have to look up, and international shipping taxes and things like that. Not very much fun. And then if you talk to stuff like that with someone who has an art background or a 3D background, you can see their eyes kind of glaze over as their words they're coming out of your mouth,
Like,
because they kind of go into one ear and come out the other, like, what did you say?
it's like, can you hire someone to do this? Now, it kind of continues on to the next question, where what you kind of mentioned about all the marketing research and stuff. What was the preparation like? Was there anyone that helped you guys, and anyone that stood out or stepped out to help you guys at all?
Preparation was key in this, because we're very new to the whole wargaming scene as a company. It's a new company, whereas you compare us to other people or other companies that have put out really successful Kickstarters like Mantic, which is a huge fan following. It's very hard to follow up something as successful as them. So one of the key things that I tried to do first was to hunt down people and talk to them to prove that we have the chops to do what we're doing. And one of the first people that responded back to me was Chung from WGC, and I managed to convince him that we could do what we said we were setting out to do by showing him a lot of examples of our work. And Chung was very gracious, and he sat down with me for a few hours to, just to talk about what skill levels we were at, and I had to show him some of the models and some of the things that we had done in the past for in the visual effects industry instead of doing models, and told him how we can transfer the knowledge that and skills that we have from visual effects to miniatures. That was the first part that we got done. So Chung agreed to help us do a lot of marketing, and it brought us into the WGC fold, and we started working with Lester Bursley, and we miraculously started working with Dave from Mini Wargaming as well on some of his projects. And then the harder part later on was finding out about manufacturing. And thankfully, I managed to meet up with Jeremy Glenn from Creature Caster, who's a fantastic guy. And over several cups of coffee, and we managed to share a lot of our notes and all the research that we did. And we found some really great solutions to some of the manufacturing issues that we were both having. And, swapping ideas. Because, keeping any business relationship open and friendly as possible is just really important in the wargaming business, because the amount of people involved in it, the number of companies, is very small. So you want to maintain a really good image as a business. So,
I think, in my humble opinion, being in the niche community already itself, you can't have the mentality of, oh, I'm not going to share my secrets, this is all mine. You can't go big with that kind of mentality.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
no, it's not a very good attitude to have. There were some people that I did approach who had that sort of attitude, but we were just really happy to run into people like Chung and Jeremy, who were happy to share with us, the things that they had learned, and then we became really close in a business relationship, and kind of sharing all the things that we found out. So that was very, very fortunate for us.
All right, let's pull back a little bit. Why Kickstarter?
Why Kickstarter? Well, as a launching platform, Kickstarter has more hits than other crowdfunding websites, and I think it's easier to share around by word of mouth as well. And if you compare the success rate and the success numbers of Kickstarters compared to other crowdfunding websites, you realize how powerful a marketing tool and a launching platform it is over the other crowdfunding websites. And then if Kickstarter wants to pay me for saying that, that'll be great.
Now, another thing that you guys are doing differently than most Kickstarter that has something to do with miniatures or board games is you actually hired animators instead of traditional sculptors or just basic 3D sculptors. You specifically choose a bunch of animators.
We still have traditional sculptors, and we have 3D sculptors. Matt's one of them. Okay. But yes, animators are very important to our work pipeline as well. It's for getting the pose right, the narrative right, and a lot of people have heard me say this so far, but animators, their job from day to day is to tell a story with pose, from just to get a character's intent, the character's attitude from just a simple pose. It's really important, and animators do this the whole day, every day of their lives, of their working career. So that's why we employ animators to help us figure out characters' poses and how to push certain poses to make it look more dynamic and more stylized. That's why we use animators a lot.
Yeah, and it reflects on the sneak previews that you're already doing, like the battles. You can tell, like, those poses, they're not from just somebody who's without a certain background just suddenly drawing and then post them up. And I've seen it firsthand where Matt actually brought an idea to life during Adepticon at the table while waiting, for people to buy stuff.
Yep, a few came out of there.
It's really crazy how creative that you guys could be in that kind of environment where you're also required to talk to people and then you're drawing at the same time. I thought it was pretty amazing.
Well, sometimes the creative juices are flowing in your head and you just can't stop and you got to get the idea out on a piece of paper. And thankfully for us, we're blessed with a really great team of people that, if we have like an idea and we're doodling it on a piece of paper and we can't quite figure out a certain thing, I can hand it off, or Matt can hand it off to another artist to like do a quick draw over, and they can, add their little bits to it, and then we'll hand it back to Matt or hand it back to myself, and we'll draw something else over it until we get a really nice final product. The creativity bounce off different people.
Translating that from sketches all the way to production, and then seeing the item itself in front of your hand, if you can kind of briefly describe the process, because a lot of people are interested in how you get to a certain point, especially with Kickstarter. If you can share a little bit.
Okay. Let's see what I got here. I'm going to share my screen here.
Okay.
Okay. You see that?
Yep.
All right. So this is one of the characters that made it into the final 10, the lineup. One of our Berserker ladies, Ingrid. That's right. So this sketch originally started out like, let's see if I got it here. Here we go. Here's some of the initial sketches that one of our artists did, based on my horrible, like, what do you call it? Stick people doodlings in my notebook. Like, here, try some of these out and see if you can flesh it out a little bit. And he took a couple of minutes and just like, okay, try this and try this. And we, while doing these, we were kind of referencing a lot of anime and comic books and movies and video games and stuff. And like, oh, I remember that pose from that character from that video game. Yeah. Oh, that scene in this cartoon when she was doing this. Oh, it was awesome. So we kind of try and remember those poses that certain characters have and try and apply that to the character that we're trying to currently design in terms of posing. So these were some of the initial poses that we came up with. You can see this lower left hand one was kind of
Wolverine.
Like, yeah, the daughter of Wolverine,
X-23.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that the third character from the bottom as well made it into, I guess, the pose, not the final character.
Yeah, we reused that pose for another character, which she didn't make it into the top 10, sadly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we reused that pose just because we liked it so much. It seemed to tell a bit more and look a bit more fearsome than some of the other poses that we came up with just for that character. So we went back and, what about some other poses we did for some other characters? And we just ended up using this one instead.
Okay.
So after we did these, we kind of went ahead and said, okay, let's try and design some armor on top of that. And came up with a bunch of different armor designs, and this is pretty close to what the final armor looks like for Ingrid on the left here. On the right is the armor for the character with the shield that she didn't make it into the top 10, but you can kind of see what her armor looks like. Very similar to Bertha's armor as well. All these women have a similar theme, and you can see all the different interlocking plates and things that we came up with. And personally, I wanted her to have a skull with horns coming through the eye sockets. So, that was my demand, is you gotta do that when you design the armor. This is what I want, and this shape of the armor. And we did a lot of different sketches from a lot of different, I would say from most of the team was kind of doodling over just the body layout of the armor, and then we kind of composited the sections of armor that we really liked based on what we had, and we put them together, and this is pretty close to the final result.
Now, from this, and then you transferred over, I guess, to Matt and some of the other 3D sculptures.
That's right. From this, we take this, and we had several other sculptors who were with us before, and they came up with, we asked them to come up with body templates. Let's see if I can bring that up here. Here we go. It's a body template that we sculpted. we got them to sculpt based on some drawings that we had, so that we were pushing for a really nice muscular female body template. And we got this model, and we put a rig in her. A rig is like a 3D skeletal and muscle system.
Mhm.
So we put the rig in her, we pose her out, and then we hand her off to Matt to do the final armor and stuff on top of her. So that's the kind of process there. Matt, maybe you want to talk a little bit about how you sculpted the armor for Bertha, because the armor is so similar to Ingrid's.
Yeah, from this, I kind of see it as playing with Legos, or putting armors on those Saint Seiya figures.
Yeah.
In 3D, just putting
Exactly. It's all you just take a proxy. Like, it's easy. When you have form in your head, you would take like something like a cube, and you could just literally put it on the shoulder for a shoulder piece and sculpt in what the general shape of it is and detail it. And because it's a miniature, like Justin can attest.
Yeah.
I was trying to I got to do these scratches because I was thinking as a 3D. Like a sculptor, like high res.
Mm-hmm. You put it as a video game kind of thing.
Exactly, and then it took a couple times, but a couple hours, but I got to the point where it's like you just make the general shape, and then you let the community, like the individual guy who buys it, like the painters and stuff, kind of etch out how much battle damage they want.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
Just on a note, there were many times where Matt asked me, should I add pores to the face? I'm like, no, don't add pores to the face. That's never going to show up. It's 28, 30 millimeters. Are you crazy? He's like, please don't add pores. Can I add this little button on a collar? Like, no, that's not going to show up. Please just take it off. Don't waste time on that. So,
now, after putting the armor, then you would go into finding people who can actually produce them.
Yeah, we'll go into manufacturing, if that's what you're talking about.
Yes. I'm losing English, so.
Yeah, after getting a pretty solid sculpt, and also we would separate the different pieces out at different either armor segments or ball joints or something. We would separate the pieces out. We would get a master print done. We'll do several test prints first with our in-house 3D printer here, just to make sure the proportions are okay and certain sizings are okay and it kind of matched up with other tabletop miniatures. And then we would go and get a master print done somewhere else with a super highly detailed 3D printer. The stuff that prints out like jewelry grade, kind of super expensive prints, and we'll get them, and then we'll hand it over to our manufacturers to get the master molds made, and then the result is prototypes of Bertha and Christina, which you see before you. Yeah. They were rough prototypes, I must say, but we are going to get those remolded after. We still want to tweak around a few things. Personally, I think we can still improve the current Bertha and Tilda prints that we currently have. So if our Kickstarter goes well, and please bid and please pledge, we will get those recast. So a lot of the details will show up properly this time.
Now, Matt and Justin, we had the opportunity to become roommates during Adepticon. And during one of the first conversations that I had with Matt, actually, because Justin, we've been talking on Google Hangouts prior to that. But Matt, the first time I met him, and then one of the first conversations I had was, so are you a hobbyist? Have you seen miniatures before? And it came out to be like, oh no, this is the first time. So, and we went to Adepticon, and basically, he learned how to swim just by getting dropped into the deep end of the pool. Do you see this as a 3D artist? Do you see this as another door open, being like, oh, that's another side industry that I can probably jump in?
Oh, definitely. It's going back to Adepticon. I didn't, like you said, I didn't have any prior experience. I didn't even know that this whole thing existed, truthfully. And I was so surprised, and I loved it. It was awesome. Like the creativity going into everybody, like taking it so seriously, and it was really good.
You can't hold back nerds from being passionate, man.
It's amazing. It blew me away. It completely blew me away. Back to the 3D part. Definitely, it's definitely an open door. I think right now we're just like the beginning, like before the whole thing is flooded with just people doing like one-offs. Once people start, the printers become easier and easier to get. So it's really nice right now to do all these interesting designs before the market's flooded with a ton.
Now, this is a question for both of you guys. Now, you mentioned something about being flooded, and now we have $300 in-house printers, like 3D printers made.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see this becoming a trend? Like, it could be a mom-and-pop miniature shop could be even smaller than a mom-and-pop. Like Kingdom Death was a mom-and-pop shop.
Yeah.
And they've gotten $2 million bigger.
Yeah.
Now, let's say if I'm a 3D artist and then I have a $300 3D printer, do you see this becoming a trend? Like, all right, I'm just going to create a one-off.
Well,
Justin first, yeah.
The $300 3D printers that are available on the market will not give you the detail you require to print 30 millimeter miniatures with the detail that you want on them. It's still pretty chunky. You get a lot of stepping. Which are those lines that go across the print. And I think you can get pretty close, like 25 not nanometers, 25 microns, which is pretty small in terms of detail level. So you could print some of the bigger stuff if you just wanted to do 75 millimeters for the painters. That stuff would be viable for if you get a really good home 3D printer, probably fork out like $2,000 or $3,000, maybe up to $4,000 or $5,000. You could possibly do that, and with some touch-up work, you could put get some resin molding and make your own business that way. But not for the smaller models. I don't think the technology isn't up to scratch yet. You'll need to buy a rather expensive machine to get that jewelry grade level of detail out.
What do you think, Matt?
I agree. For the smaller ones right now, it's not. It's going to look weird. The faces are just going to come out all blocky and just gooey looking.
It's going to look like Minecraft.
Yeah. It's going to look like you took a model and just blowtorched its face.
Now, how this is a little bit of a tangent. What about those vinyl toys? Like
vinyl toys?
Or board game where the models are a little bit like chibi, bigger sizes that the game pieces.
Yeah, you could do that. If it's like a lot of the really rounded flat shapes, and they're a little bit bigger than the 30 millimeter size, say maybe even 40, 50 millimeter kind of things, it will be completely fine. You'd probably still need to sand it down a little bit, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to the Kickstarter. Unfortunately, you guys just posted up an announcement that it is going to be late, but that's not due to the preparations. You guys are very prepared to launch it last weekend, which is May the 3rd.
Yep.
But it was the Kickstarter. What do you call it? Damn it! I'm losing words.
What we did was
approval. You're waiting for Kickstarter's approval, which apparently takes 48 hours up to 17 days.
Yeah, we overestimated or underestimated. We incorrectly estimated the time required by Kickstarter to approve our project. So I thought I could, a couple days, or it was earlier that week, which I submitted it, but obviously that was not enough time. So apologies to all the people who are eagerly awaiting our Kickstarter to go off, and that's why I didn't post up the time, like the global kind of time graph.
Yeah.
Or time chart depicting the time that we will go live for all places around the world, kind of thing. So my apologies.
I think it is a blessing in disguise. I mean, I'm not part of your production team or anything, but the way I see it, I think it's a blessing in disguise because even though the launch date is pushed back, you guys can prepare a little bit more because time has not stopped for you guys. The workers and everyone else are still working. You guys are still designing.
Yeah. Well, actually, the first thing that I did after I put out that video, and then I spoke to Matt, and I spoke to the rest of the team about it, was I went to sleep. Before that, I was up for a good 60 hours with only like a few hours of nap in between. Kind of pushing the boundaries of consciousness there. Very much like crunch time for any movie in crunch time or TV show in crunch time. People don't sleep. VFX people. Hats off to everyone else still in the VFX industry. Sometimes they're asked to do like crazy 60-hour work weeks, up to 80 and 100-hour work weeks where they would sleep at their desks. And so I don't want to say my body is accustomed to that because nobody's body is accustomed to that stuff, but
It wears you down.
something that I have done before and I didn't really want to do again, but it just so happened that that's how it turned out to be. So first thing I did was I'm going to sleep. I slept for 14 hours.
I'm chomping at the bit. I can't wait for this Kickstarter to start. Like, all the concepts we have are so good.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that's awesome about it is, those drawings are like, they don't even really show the final like poses. Like, we can take them back. It's just more of just showing the designs of the armor in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like those concepts, the drawings, the renderings are really good, but they're only about 45% true. Like the sculpts always turn out so much better, and I've been surprised every time consecutively. I'm like, all right, let's see how this one turns out. And it blows me away. At the end, I'm like, this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think you guys' excitement adds to this whole launch. I mean, if you guys, the creators of this particular miniature line, are not excited about your own product, then why bother, right?
That's right. That's a little bit of craziness coming through. Like, we believe that we can do this so bad that we would put our bodies through ridiculous hours of awakened states of designing, sculpting, getting all over social media just to get our product out there.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone out there who wants to start their own Kickstarter, you have to believe in what you're doing, and you have to make sure the community believes in what you're doing too, to be able to pull through all the trials and tribulations that you're going to have while putting your Kickstarter out.
I believe that was the last message that I wanted to get without asking the question, so I guess that was pretty good. We're actually running out of time, and this is the first episode of Developer Diaries with Arcane Factories. Do you think we're going to be able to actually pull out some other people, like some of your artists, and just add into the fray so we can get a little different opinions? Because
maybe
we wanted to do this every week, so you guys, the backers and I guess the pre-backers right now, and whoever's going to back the Kickstarter later, could have updates this way.
We'll see if a couple of the 2D guys and animators have time. I might be able to get my rigger on here.
Cool.
So we can talk about the technical aspects of the rig, and I can show people exactly how the rig would work, in terms of how to pose a character out. And because most people, when I say, "Oh, I used to work in rigging," they go, "What's rigging?" It's like, "Oh, that's when I get put the puppet skin and the muscle systems all over in through the character, and you can see their eyes kind of go a bit confused." So maybe I'll show them that next time.
Yeah, that is absolutely perfect. So thank you guys for watching. Arcane Factory is Developer Diaries #1. We're going to continue on probably on a weekly basis or as an update process throughout the whole Kickstarter until people actually get their products. So when is the estimated ship out dates?
Ship out dates for our product?
Uh-huh.
We're hoping to get, we're giving ourselves a very generous amount of time to do this. We're hoping to get everything to people sometime very, very early April. If everything lines up properly, hopefully early April. Yeah.
Yeah, that means at least 12 to 15 episodes of Developer Diaries. So we'll be back for more, guys. I love putting out new content, so especially when you guys actually are very open in describing how the process works. Because some people might want to make money off of these company secrets, but it's something that you want to just share. I mean, nobody can copy what you guys are doing. No one's gonna be able to copy what Justin drew or Matt drew because unless they're just straight up photocopiers.
All the stuff that we figure out, I figured you might as well just be friendly and share it so other people can benefit from it too. It's very strange to withhold certain information and things. Wouldn't be benefiting the community at all because the community is so small and so close knit. Sometimes if you create you're good enough to put out a really nice product, you want to have competition in there with you to push you to develop your product to the next stage. Having a healthy competition like Jeremy and I have, we have a very great friendship and a very healthy competition. Like comparing the different ways that we design demons and monsters. It's great to have, and I wish we had more of that around.
Cool. Thank you guys again, Justin, Matt. This is Developer Diaries #1 for Arcane Factories. And hopefully you guys see us hopefully next week somewhere.
Yeah.
Thanks again, guys.
See you next time. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.